Okay, so the next rolling question is VP of Education, seen this year taken on by Mr. Lazindovic. And what we're going to do now is go to the manifesto points of one Becky Lauder-Fletcher. So let's have a look what she had to say in her manifesto.
I'm Becky Lauder-Fletcher and I'm running to be your Vice President for Education. During my time at Loughborough, I have completed a drama degree and am currently studying performance and multimedia at a master's level. I've been involved in numerous voluntary positions, from hall rag rep to department committee to programme rep and union councillor. I believe I possess the knowledge, desire, commitment and passion to improve your educational experience. My manifesto is based on 3 key areas for development: implementation of an academic mentor matching service, transformation of postgraduate funding and inclusion of postgraduates in the university, and finally, modernisation of the departmental committee system. I'm hopping for your education, so make the right choice and vote Becky Bunny.
Please welcome to the stage, Becky Lauder-Fletcher. Alex, darling, how are you feeling about this evening?
I'm a bit nervous.
Bit nervous? Yeah, were you slightly weirded out by what just happened? Because I'm slightly sort of feeling a bit unnerved.
It was very interesting.
It was interesting, yes. We'll try and bring it back to normality for you guys at home. So we have potential VP of Education here for next year, Becky Lauder-Fletcher, and joined to my right, Mr. Zindovic. How are you? How are you feeling about this evening? Oh, wolf whistles from the crowd. There you go. Ladies man, Laz. How are we feeling about this evening?
I'm good, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Good, good, good. So let's get going with the debate. Okay, so Becky, you ready for some questions from the audience?
Yes.
Here we go then. Mr. Linksty, who we got?
Well, yeah, just reflecting back on that last debate we had. £4 for a shop, not so good if you want a lion bar, really, is it? Anyway, Katie Sutherland, is she in the audience anywhere? Hello, Katie. Your question for the VP Education.
Okay. This year, Laz has worked really hard with sections of the union, such as Students' Voice. I was just wondering if you had any plans for next year to promote services like Students' Voice, as it is for the students.
Okay, Becky, your response?
Yes. I'm looking at potentially introducing a VP Education Committee. On that, I would have a media and publicity officer. The media and publicity officer would be working directly to advertise things such as Student Voice, such as programme reps and other areas involving education. I understand how important Student Voice is and that not many students and enough students are aware of it. So from things such as emails, regular emails to different departments and schools, Facebook groups, communication through that, even going back to basics with posters, I think really getting the news out about Student Voice, more students involved with it, will really help with it.
Okay, thank you, Becky. Jago, another uncontested position. Is it another definite for who's going to be at VP Education next year?
I think it probably is, Connor, but one of Becky's one of the main manifesto points is around postgraduate funding, which I think everyone who's ever considered going into a degree after their undergrad sees as a real problem. It's a real scandal, and it's even, in my opinion, more of a scandal than the £9,000 fees. One of the last candidates, Zach Evans, was quoted as saying that he doesn't want to make any promises in manifesto that he can't keep. Becky, that's exactly what you've done, isn't it? By saying you can do anything about postgrad funding, it's pretty much out of your remit.
Okay. I'm looking into thinking about it, basically, talking directly to the different departments and schools and to further heads higher up into the university. I understand it is an idea that is not 100% feasible, but it will be something that can be talked about and debated through different meetings and through different committees, and hopefully I can put the point across and have students that can back up my point and have their opinions, and potentially something will come from it.
When you're sitting here in 12 months' time, how do we decide whether your pledge to do something about postgraduate funding has been a success or a failure?
Well, obviously, if I promise that I'm going to make that move, then I will keep regular updates. I will promise to attend the meetings and hopefully through my exec reports and through further communications, then you can see that I will have attempted my best at fulfilling my promises.
Laz, was it a tough decision when you were writing a manifesto before you came into the position? Was it tough for you to think, what is actually feasible? What can I actually get done in this year?
Oh, definitely is. I think your expectations constantly change. You think you're going really well, next thing you know, you're facing a brick wall. You climb over the brick wall, excuse the pun, and then you keep going. So I think when you write a manifesto, you write what you think is plausible within the year, but then again, the year flies so quickly, and sticking to all the things, as well as that, once you're in the role, 101 new things come at you. So being able to balance all of that whilst trying to stay with what you said you're going to deliver within your manifesto is a challenge in itself.
I believe so, yeah. Jago, for somebody who I think is renowned for giving executive a little bit of stick, are you one to admit that it is difficult to have a feasible plan before you go into a job that you really can't experience until you're in it? And as Les said, all the new things that come up.
I think how often it has been so that there's been wishy-washy for manifestos, or on the flip side, manifestos that haven't been sort of addressed. There must be some sort of structural problem in the fact that the exec, they're not all bad. There's lots of them that are great. Lazar's been absolutely fantastic this year. He's had a very quantifiable manifesto, and to be perfectly fair, he's really delivered on it. How Becky lives up to what Lazar's done this year is going to be a real challenge.
Becky, do you think it's something you can live up to?
I hope so. I like to throw myself at challenges and commit to 100%. So hopefully.
Amazing, thank you, Becky. Mr. Linsky, another question from the audience, please.
Absolutely. Another one from Peter Knight here for our VP Education candidate.
This January, students of the Part A Mechanical Engineering programme experienced an extremely heightened workload with coursework and labs that many found themselves unable to cope with. Despite the efforts of the programme rep, the issues were not resolved in time, and many found themselves unable to, believe that their January tests were negatively affected as a result of this. What will you do in the future to make sure this kind of issue doesn't arise?
Okay, so workload, Becky, is it something you've thought about already?
Workload. Obviously, it differs with different departments and different schools, but I can understand that. I think it's talking directly to the programme reps, to programme presidents, and seeing what the students in these departments are coming back to them and saying. Then myself would work directly with the programme presidents and attend SSCC meetings with the schools who have those issues and talk to the lecturers and just explain, look, can you change coursework deadlines? Can you move them so they're more separated at different times? So students do have time to balance out their workload, essentially.
Lads, is it something you found difficult, having to juggle all the needs of different departments and schools? What advice would you give to Becky?
One thing you've got is you've got an absolutely fantastic team of programme presidents. They work really hard and probably go above and beyond. They've got great relationships within the departments and will know the associate deans of teaching as well as head of departments very well. So speaking to programme presidents, liaising with them to speak to departments, and everyone at the end of the day is there to work for the students.
Brilliant, working for the students. That's what we're here for, ladies and gents. Mr. Carter, how have you found, obviously being a student here, how have you found a position such as VP Education has affected your time here?
Well, not much. In all honesty, I'm going to have to start asking the question again about postgraduate funding, because I think this is if I were you, I'd tear this out of your manifesto and bury it, because I can't remember the exact word that you used, but you said you'd introduce more postgraduate funding. That is not even possible. You know that, don't you? I know that you've answered that, but are you going to sort of go U-turn now and just say, look, that shouldn't be in the manifesto because I can't possibly achieve it, in those exact words?
I think it's very difficult for people who haven't experienced the job to know exactly what it entails once you get in. I mean, Laz has already said that you don't really know what you're coming up against, and there's hundreds of new things that you do. I don't think there's any shame in trying when you come in as a new candidate and attempting to do things. Becky, pick up more on what Chris said about he feels the VP Education role hasn't really affected him. Do you think it's a role that works under the surface? How will you ensure that that students next year feel that they're being recognised by you?
I feel essentially that the VP Education role is a direct communication link between department committees, programme presidents, programme reps and student voice. So, as Chris says, he may not have been directly affected by the person themselves, but by other areas he is directly affected by. But I think just basically getting out all my beliefs and all the work that I'm carrying out will help to affect the students and make them realise the work I'm doing.
Thank you, Becky. Sorry, gentleman at the back, I've forgotten your name. Did that answer your question?
Yes, yeah, that's fine.
You got anything in response to Becky?
Off the top of my head, no, unfortunately, but
That's fine.
I'm satisfied with the answer.
I'm glad it's been answered. Miss Linsky, have we got someone else in the audience for a question?
Yeah, another question. James Holmes, is he around anywhere? James? No, I'll read his... Just give me 1 second. I will read his question out, though. He would like to know, what do you feel, Becky, is the largest problem facing student voice advocacy and the programme rep teams? And how do you feel these should be addressed?
So what are the problems that you might face coming into the position, Becky?
Generally, I think it's advertising and marketing and communication, just because still there's a majority of students that aren't aware of these services and aren't aware of these areas that they can go to for extra student and peer support. So I really think focusing on that will help it. For example, I can say to students, oh, so you know about student voice, you can go and talk to them for impaired performance, and they say, no, I have no idea how to do that. And I really think improving the communication and marketing and promotion of these areas will help improve it.
Thank you, Becky. So I'd like to open it to the audience now. Is there anything anybody has pressing issue they'd like to bring up with potentially your VP Education next year? Anybody in questions? No? Okay, that's fine. I think, sorry, we had the hand at the back.
Yeah. Just a quick one. I'm currently a department chair and working with Lazar at the moment. We're currently thinking about bringing in a constitution to the department committees. Do you believe this is a good idea, and will you carry it on in the role?
Sorry, lads, come in there.
Correct, it's not constitution, it's a code of practice just for the department committees, so there'll be nothing constitutional about it.
Okay, slight difference in words there, but important. So a code of practice. Becky, is this something that you will attempt at next year?
Yes, I do think keeping a code of practice and will make department committees stand out more in their departments and schools, because having these areas and outlines that they have to keep to should therefore improve the workings of them and make them more similar to hall committees, society committees, etc. So yeah.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Becky Lauder-Fletcher.